Hey guys, it's Ornlu, and oh boy, we're here with another of the last Chieftains civilizations. This time it is the Tupi, and yes, again, I know that the bonuses and stuff were leaked earlier, but we were not, as content creators, supposed to do any content for them. I was correct in not making the video on them beforehand, and any videos that were covering the Tupi and the Whiska at this point were definitely not supposed to be done. So, score one for Ornlu. Anyway, so here, guys, we will have the 2P, their bonuses and tech tree, and I'll be able to cover them as best I can. And obviously, I will be going into more detail once I get my hands on the expansion and can, test stuff. Testing is fun. All right, so the bold, honorable Tupi prowl the eastern jungles, escarpments, and coasts of South America with formidable warbands of infantry and ranged soldiers. Wide geographical distribution grants them easy access to a variety of resources, while prudent frugality promotes sustainable use of arms and armaments. As foreign arrivals reshape the internal and external tribal relations, the Tupi trust in their large numbers and skilled diplomacy to endure whatever adversity comes their way. So, bonuses I will cover, of course, with the tech tree, but just here, start with extra resources. Villagers can garrison in settlements. Fallen units return a percentage of their cost. Archery range and barracks upgrades cost less food. And TCs and castles provide extra population. Good stuff. So yeah, we'll look at the tech tree in a moment, but the Blackwood Archer we have already seen in a previous video. They definitely look super cool, especially the elite one. They got lots of feathers and stuff, but they're inexpensive and train in pairs. Then the Ibarapemo Warrior is a big dude with a club, and it deals area damage, so we'll have to see how that one goes. Then it's Sasike? I have no idea. I'll look that up. Kachike was a chieftain of an indigenous tribe. So yeah, the unique text here. So Chompy Warriors and Slingers attack fast. Remember, Slingers are a regional unit now. And Chompy Warriors are the swordsman replacement. So faster attacking Slingers is just super good against infantry. Chompy Warriors, we just don't know the stats yet, so it's going to be a little hard to judge. And then Curare is foot archers and fortifications deal poison damage over time. So that is going to be, of course, pretty fun. Of course, the poison dart frog arrows and whatnot. So that is all foot archers and fortifications. And here is the Tupi Castle. We've seen it in promotional images. Looks pretty cool for a civilization that didn't really work with stone. I mean, this is a big wooden castle, but it's clearly a nice fortification and whatnot. But we can't imagine the Tupi have very good defenses. And the Tupi wonder, look at this thing. You know what the Tupi lack in, stone masonry that other civilizations have, they make up for in waterfalls. Man, that is so beautiful. With like the big trees and the player color as well. I love it, love it, love it. So, of course, you guys are here for the tech tree, so let's jump into that. Okay. There we go. Again, the resolution isn't as high as I'd like, but we can figure stuff out. So, Tupi, archer and infantry civilization. Believe it or not, this is the first civilization to have this exact designation. So, indeed, start with plus 25 of each resource. Now, this is kind of interesting, right? Because what do you do with 25 extra resources? You can get a dock earlier on water maps. That's certainly nice. It's not going to be like as good as a civ like Japanese or Lithuanians or Persians, of course, but you can still get that dock down a little bit faster. Extra starting food. Honestly, that also might work for hybrid and water maps because you can probably get away with like take an early boar and then have one less villager on food and send them to wood a little bit faster. Just again, get those fishing ships out a little bit faster. I don't know how that's going to work, but it could be interesting. For the golden stone, you can drush with one extra militia. You can potentially get a bit of a faster castle age time because you have the extra gold. And with the extra stone, you could probably drop a few outposts, no problem, and still add the extra TCs. Remember, you can build outposts with your Chompy warriors, so you have extra incentive to build outposts. And then you can't build 2 towers. 2 towers require 250 stone, but it is at least easier to get to that second tower. So it's kind of interesting. Like, it's a very straightforward early game boost, but I kind of like it. I like anything that opens up interesting build orders. That isn't the Cumin bonus. Second bonus here is that villagers can garrison in settlements. Now, remember, settlements are the regional building for all of the South American civs. It is your universal drop-off site, so we'll have to see how many villagers can garrison inside them. Do they fire arrows? Again, I'll do extensive testing on this once I get access to the DLC. Good stuff there. Fallen units returned 15% of their cost. They say it's frugalness. I personally think this is their nod to the cannibalism stuff. Now, unless I'm mistaken, you cannot have cannibalism in a T-rated game. Remember, AoE2 is a T-rated game, so I don't actually think that they can have explicit cannibalism. But yeah, they can call it frugality, but that's what I think that nod is. Now, the Tupi are going to have primarily very cheap and weak units, so it's going to see how... I mean, this is going to be interesting, right? Because it's actually better for the return of their cost on cheap, weak units, because they're more likely to die often, right? If it was your arm, you're playing like Persian elephants or Bengalis or stuff like that, your units just aren't going to die very often, at least not ideally. So I actually think this does make the most sense with a Civ that seems to be all about spamming cheaper but weaker units. I think it is going to be a cool bonus. And then archery range and barracks upgrades cost minus 50% food. It kind of steps on Shu and the Dravidians a little bit, but it's good enough. Gonna help all of those timings. Helps, crossbowmen, arbalest. Does not apply to skirmishers. It presumably will apply to your Chompy warrior upgrades. It will probably apply to Ibarra Pema warriors. And then pikemen and halps as well. So yeah, just good early timing boost. Good defensive boost, good early game Dark Age boost, good like early to mid game boost. This is definitely a Civ about getting ahead. Also, you start with TCs and castles provide 10 plus 10 pop space. This is actually a Chinese bonus for the town centers. Towers. Oh my goodness, I misread that. Towers and castles provide pop space. Oh, yeah, I read that as town centers my first go around. Interesting. I don't know how good that is. Like, what, you gonna go for a tower rush and use that for housing space? I don't know. It might be pretty sick on Fortress, right? Because you get 4 towers on Fortress, so there's 40 pop space, and then you get another 25 from your castle and TC, so you start with 65 pop space on Fortress. That's interesting. And then the castles, I mean, it's just a nice little boost. So, unique units are the Blackwood Archer and the Ibirapema. The Ibirapema Warrior. There we go. These words are going to be very difficult. So yeah, the Blackwood Archer is going to be your unique unit. Now note that you don't have any quality boosts for your archers. You don't have Thumb Ring, and let's just get into this here. So no cavalry, of course, for the American Civ. You also miss Blast Furnace. And this civilization is the first first American Civ to miss Blast Furnace, just like Mapuche were the first to miss Bracer. So your infantry units are going to be missing that final attack. We don't know the Chompy Warrior stats, so we'll have to go ahead and see how that works, but it is going to hurt your halbs a little bit. It's cheaper to tech into, and you get a little bit of that cost back, but it's gonna hurt your halbs for sure, attacking anything that isn't explicitly cavalry. Like, you might think halbs don't really care about Blast Furnace because of all the bonus damage they do versus cavalry, and that's true enough when fighting cavalry, but halbs spend a lot of time actually attacking other melee units, attacking buildings, and all that stuff, so missing Blast Furnace does matter. Or it is noticeable, rather. And then, again, we don't know the stats of the Ibirapema warriors. We don't know that yet. That said, your archers are missing Thumb Ring, so it's like, okay, you get the cheaper upgrades, but you miss Thumb Ring. Your slingers are going to be, good for sure because of the faster attack speed. Your skirms aren't going to be all that great, though. Your skirms are just kind of generic. So, I'm not too sure how this is going to work in the late game. Oh yeah, you have Curare, so your archers, never mind. You do have the extra bonus damage from poison damage, but I have no idea how that's going to look. I mean, this seems like there's just so much testing we need to do, and I can't wait to get into it. I can't wait to spend hours in the scenario editor making pretty settlements, and then occasionally testing things. All right, so obviously no stable, but archers and infantry both have strengths, but they're a little bit atypical. Note that you also don't have gambesons. We have to assume it applies to chompy warriors, as they are these. Oh crap. The replacement there. So yeah, we'll have to check it out. So siege, you have pretty good siege. You have siege engineers. No siege engineers. Okay, so you have siege rams, onagers, heavy scorpion. This is exactly the Mayan siege workshop. It's okay. It's serviceable. It's not terribly exciting. The siege rams at least are going to be big because it seems like your units are kind of low damage. Like especially with a bunch of archers, it's good to have those siege rams. You wish you had siege engineers, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, you probably don't want to play water with this if you're missing a gajillion upgrades. Hybrid maps might be fine, like I said, thanks to the good early start for the Tupi, but it doesn't seem like you want to play them late game. That said, interesting here. Also, no masonry and architecture. Going to be joining the Aztecs and Vietnamese and Byzantines, Ornlu, as the only civs to miss masonry. But makes sense considering that these guys didn't really build with stone. But you do have stone walls, and I think this is entirely a balance thing. It's hard to balance a civ that doesn't have stone walls whatsoever. Humans and Goths are the only ones right now. Humans have the 2TC thing, and Goths, like, that's their whole thing. So I think it's just easier to give them stone walls, but obviously no fortified wall. That said, you do have keeps with arrow slits, with bracer, and they deal poison damage with curare. Also, you do have hoardings, so like Vietnamese. So I want to see how good their keeps are. Because, like, you have a bunch of archers, right? You can garrison, like, the Blackwood archers or your Arbs into the keeps and, like, have that all deal poison damage. Like, that might be pretty good in the late game. I can't wait to test this out. In case you guys can't tell, I'm super hyped for this. But yeah, you have hoardings and sappers, cool. How are your monks? No atonement, fervor, or block printing. Redemption and Castle Age is nice for sure. But other than that, it's certainly not going to be a core strength of the Civ. Your monks are there. It can help defend against siege pushes, which is really helpful because you don't have cavalry, of course. But it's not going to be, again, sort of what you want going into the late game. And then your ecotechs, you miss guilds, of course, and then no stone chef mining or crop rotation. Nothing terribly exciting there. Not really a late game Civ. 2P definitely feel pretty aggressive. You can get a nice early lead with the civilization thanks to the extra starting resources, the cheap barracks upgrades. Your men-at-arm rush is going to be super good. And then you have all of these cheap, weak, and expendable units. We'll have to see how the Ibira Pema warrior does as like your big, chonky frontline unit, because that's something the Civ otherwise seems to lack completely. We'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, guys, that is going to be the Tupi. Really looking forward to these guys. Want to see how they play out. Can't wait to do the testing and all that stuff. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of the Tupi, and I will see you next time.